Interesting times indeed, my friends. This is November 1st, 11/1/23. Yesterday was Halloween. For those of you that celebrate it, I no longer partake in these demonic celebrations that so many people seem to love. We go all out. If you look at the front of the building that I own, my tenants made it look like a cemetery with a dead body. I mean, people go all out. Did I enjoy it as a child? Yes. But spiritually, after understanding its undertones and kind of where it all comes from, I just kind of don't partake in the celebration anymore. And I don't like dressing up like dead people. I think we see enough dead people on the news and in real life all over the place. I think we're spooked enough. In any event, there's so much going on. I'm going to cover a lot on this episode, so thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that sub button. Check me out anywhere that podcasts are available. You can watch the episode on YouTube and on Spotify. Make sure that you stay tuned because I always give you a very unique perspective on what's going on in the world. It was an ancient Chinese proverb that said, "May you live in interesting times." It wasn't necessarily a good thing because it meant if you left in interesting times, it meant that something pretty crazy was probably happening in the world and in society. So when someone said, "May you live in interesting times," it was not really a good thing. You might have been alive during the reign of Genghis Khan or World War I or World War II or something crazy that happens, like what happened to all of us a few years ago when the whole world closed down. Interesting times indeed, my friends. So much to cover, so much going on. I hope you did have a good time yesterday if you celebrate Halloween. My kids, did their thing. They went and had some fun with their friends. But I'm going to show you some funny videos that have gone viral of some very creative costumes. And one of them makes fun of the most powerful man in the world, our president. And I want to see what your opinion is on that. And I thought it was the best costume I saw on the internet. So we'll drop a comment when we get to that. The ground offensive is underway in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in the Gaza region. So many heartbreaking images are coming out. There's so much going on. Jewish people are being attacked around the world. It seems like a lot of people are losing sympathy or even trying to understand the Israeli side of this. And it's starting to get pretty crazy. And it's just showing you how much significance this holy land has well beyond its borders, thousands of miles away. I'm going to cover some of the stories about that and someone that was arrested today in Cornell University here in New York City for making threats against Jewish students. When will this end? This horrible conflict that's already, by some estimates, claimed over 10,000 lives, a very large number of civilians, most of them actually, women, children, and unarmed men. And people are debating the moral compass on what's acceptable and what's not. Now, you all know where I stand. I find it hard to justify collateral damage that somebody's mother, somebody's child, somebody's father, uncle, brother, grandparent, best friend, whatever the case may be. And the way things are going over there, I think that Israel is definitely losing the information war because images are very powerful. So I don't know what they're going to do to try to turn that around, but it seems like large numbers of people are not caring about what happened anymore, how the war started. They want this war to end, and they want a ceasefire. And all you have to do is turn on your social media. There's so much going on. I'm going to start covering all the articles soon, so just stay posted with me. It seems like this war has already spread well beyond its borders of Israel and the Gaza territory. Countries like Yemen yesterday and Iran, Lebanon, well about to be involved, in my opinion. And I think this war is going to go, I hope to God it doesn't go nuclear, but I think it's going to spread well beyond the region. And as you can see the animosity building up, even here on American soil, this conflict has the potential to rip the entire world apart and put major religions against each other Because no matter how you spin it, there is a religious influence in this conflict. One people claim they're the chosen people. That's their promised land, and they have the right to return after thousands of years and take it back. That is a religious ideology. So for those that want to say this has nothing to do with religion, it has everything to do with religion, depending on how you slice it. People feel entitled. God chose us. We're above you. No, Allah chose us. No, Jesus walked here. This has been going on for a very long time. However you cut it, it is steepened in religious conflict. But the migrant crisis is about to get worse on our border, and Americans are scared. I'm nervous that something could pop off anywhere in the world because of this conflict. And I'm going to cover some of that today. Again, make sure you hit the sub button. Check us out on Twitter, X. Just type in Bek Lover NYC. Instagram. Follow me on social media. I put a lot of content on Instagram that I don't put on YouTube and vice versa. And you can also sub to some of my exclusive content where I kind of show you what I do behind the scenes. Those of you that know me, I'm around very interesting people all the time, celebrities, high-profile people, the best parties in the world. I kind of show you my life behind the scenes when you follow. We got tons of stuff coming in the future, and I want to thank you all for your support in my work. Now, back to the Halloween costume. This is a video that has gone ultra viral. I saw it well before Patrick Bet-David posted it on his Twitter. This is a costume of a bunch of young kids, and sadly, it's hilarious. It's sad because they're making fun of our president, his old age, the fact that he appears to the world as a very old and maybe mentally lost older man who might already have the onset of dementia. I don't know. But clearly he mumbles his words. He falls down all the time. And somebody decided to make this into a Halloween costume. And this video just went viral. And I'm not going to lie. Did I laugh? I laughed because of how creative it was. I laughed because young people, they're not even, they're young teens. To think of putting this together where Biden is being handled by a handler and he's trick-or-treating and he's falling down and there's Secret Service agents around him. And it's kind of like, art imitating life. We've been watching this for the last couple of years happen. And jokes are usually, right? They say there's always some truth to every joke. It makes me sad, though. As much as I laughed at it, it made me sad in so many different ways. No matter what, I don't think we should laugh at someone, being old and frail and whatever. But I think it's just credit to show that maybe this man is way past his time. 40, 50 years. People retire at the age of 65, but yet they don't seem to retire from politics, which makes no sense. How come all these people stay in power for so long? Yet every other job in the world, most people, normal people, retire by 70. Should there be an age limit for being president? Maybe that's a question we should start asking. But I think that this costume that you can watch if you're watching, but if you're listening, what you're going to hear here now is the kids. They're holding this guy, this young boy who's wearing like a Joe Biden face mask. It looks like Joe Biden. He's wearing a suit. He's holding a trick-or-treat bag. The other kids are kind of like handling him because he can't walk. He stumbles as he's going to get candy, and the whole thing just went viral. Here we go.
Mr. President, please. It's one step, Mr. President. Yes, good job, Mr. President. Yes, right here. No, this way, right here. Okay.
The video is very small. It's about maybe 15, 20 seconds. This thing went viral. I mean, it went viral. And of course, then you have political debates on the video and comments, and it's just the same nonsense. We're so divided. No one can seem to get on the same page, and it just saddens me. So it's like a bittersweet video. Like yes, it's hilarious. Yes, it's funny. Yes, it's creative because it's really young people doing this. But it's sad because it's actually real. And it's sad that our leader is in this condition where even children are making fun of him. Not really the kind of image we want to give the world when we're supposed to be leader of the free nation, the leader of democracy in the world, by our own self-calling, right? Some would argue, are we really? We're going to bring them some democracy with some bombs, I don't know. But I also, when I was younger, I always liked being the president for some reason. And when I did celebrate Halloween, I remember my first time being a president, I was Bill Clinton. One time I was Al Gore also, with the face mask, suit, same thing. I was George Bush. I was Bernie Madoff. So I always liked being someone that was like real life. That was kind of my Halloween thing. I don't know what you like to dress up as. Drop in the comments what you did this year for Halloween. I'm curious. And I wonder if anyone else was more creative than these two young boys. The next video I saw about Halloween was this one. And there's a lot of people that do this. Now, am I guilty of it? No and yes. In this video, you're going to see a group come up. They're clearly on one of those doorbell cameras. They have a large bucket of candy, but the candy that they have is full-size bars, right? They're not getting like the little miniature version. They're getting like the actual full Snicker bar, the full Nestle Crunch, the full Reese's Pieces. And those are like hidden gems when you're a trick-or-treater. Like I used to be so happy when we would get a full bar. It just felt like that much better and that much cooler, when you were a kid. Why this video has gone viral is it shows the adults coming and taking all of that candy out and dumping it into their baskets and their bags with their children and leaving. When in essence, you're supposed to take one. Each of you can take one and carry on with your night. You're supposed to leave some for the people that come after you. Now, did I come across baskets like this where, people were not home or they just don't want to deal with the going back and forth? I also am someone that just leaves a whole basket outside, but I kind of watch from the window. One year I put a walkie-talkie outside and I just kind of looked from my window when I saw kids kind of abusing that, and they were children. I think the reason this video went viral is that the adult is the one doing it and showing the kids not the right way to trick-or-treat, and it is wrong ethically to not leave candy for those that are coming after you. I mean, it's just you're being very greedy. Now, when I was a child, did I come across some of these baskets where it said, please take one? Yes. Did I take more than one? Yes, but I didn't wipe out the whole basket. I had some conscience. I had some moral compass where I'm like, I can't take all of it. And I did feel like I was stealing because the sign says take one. Now, did my friends wipe out the rest? Yeah, they did, but I didn't. I think I took like 2 that time. It was like 2 bags where they fill them up and they tell you take 1 bag. I think I took like 2 or 3. I felt bad to wipe out the whole basket because that's kind of wrong. But the video went viral because I guess the adults are the first ones to the basket and like they're laughing and like it's just, I guess, a sign of the times. Here's the video. I mean, look at how fast they just, what an amazing basket. Full-size Snickers, full-size Butterfield. I'm talking about at least probably about $100 or $200 worth of candy, maybe more. Full-size bar, full-size bars. One of those boxes costs about $50, so there's at least 4 or 5 of those boxes in there. There's about $200 worth of candy they just took there. Retail value would be much higher. So that video went viral, and that's kind of where we are as far as Halloween was. It's now November, and the month of my favorite holiday that this country celebrates, which is Thanksgiving. Now, I understand the cultural undertones and how Native Americans will feel and all that. I don't really observe the holiday in that aspect. I observe the holiday because it's a day that family gets together and thanks God for everything they have. I do understand the cultural undertones of what happened and how Nas, one of my favorite rappers, once said, the Indian saved the pilgrim, and in return, the pilgrim killed him. I call your holiday Hell Day. That's a quote from one of Nas's songs. I do observe Thanksgiving, but I believe human beings and Americans celebrate Thanksgiving every day in the sense that we should be thankful to our God, to our Creator, for all the amazing things we have in our life, that we are blessed, and that's what I love about Thanksgiving. And it is the only time of the year that I actually eat a whole, turkey, a turkey. I eat turkey sandwiches all day. Jersey Mike's, in my opinion, the best franchise. No, they don't pay me to say that. I do think that they're the best franchise as far as sandwiches are concerned. What's your favorite franchise? They're definitely having an impact. Subway sandwiches are now slicing meat You know, they had it for a long time, Subway, and then they just became too commercialized. Their meat, everything, their quality went to hell. I remember going to get sandwiches and they were folding like one slice of meat. Like, I stopped going to them. And I guess Jersey Mike's and all these other competitors came in, Firehouse Subs and Jimmy John's, where they started having to slice their own meat and put more meat in the sandwich because you got to keep up with your competition in this life, my friend. You got to keep up with your competition in this life. Before I get into the heavy stories of what's going on with Israel, Hamas, Iran, Russia, Houthi rebels in Yemen, the possibility that World War III is well underway and we don't even realize it yet, I'm going to cover one more story that I found hilarious that went viral, and it's known as Bootgate. Yes, you heard it correct. Not Watergate, not all the other gates, Obamagate. There's like a million gates. This one is known as Bootgate, and this is about Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, of whom I had a lot of respect for how he handled his state during the closure of the world, making Florida one of the most prosperous states in America. He kept the state open when everyone else closed down. He let people have their freedom, and in my opinion, it made him look like a rock star. Since he's entered the presidential race, though, he seems like a very different Ron. He's starting to seem much more like a politician, a little bit phony. And during his interview with Patrick Bet-David, you know, the legend of Valuetainment, who brought him on to his show, he brought up this rumor of Ron wearing boots that are designed to make him look taller. And the speculation went viral, people reposting memes, making fun of him. And everyone on the public, on X, formerly known as Twitter, you can find these memes all day of them making fun and poking and tagging Ron DeSantis, basically stating, you know, basically they're making fun of him saying, we don't believe you. We think you're much shorter. You're wearing boots that look like they're hiding stilts in them. And from the pictures I've seen, it kind of looks like that a little bit. So Patrick Bet-David, who honestly, guys, you know, he's been doing a phenomenal job. Patrick, if you're watching, everything you've been doing, the conversations you've been having, the tough questions you've been asking, I'm just so impressed with everything you've done and how far you've come and what you've built. You know, starting out just with gangster interviews to, I mean, you've just done amazing. And I'm happy that I got connected with Vinny, his co-host, who now follows me on Instagram, and he's amazing too. And whether you agree with them and their stances, whether you agree, you got to give them some props for having the courage to say what they truly believe. And I will always respect someone for showing you their true colors. In any event, I want to show you this video where Patrick asks Ron about the boots, even offers him probably very expensive shoes. I wish they weren't Balenciaga with all the shit that happened, if people forgot about that, with the making children look like they were being sexualized. So I would never rock Balenciaga, ever. They're boycotted to me forever. In any event, let's look at this video and let me know what you guys think. Do you think Ron DeSantis is lying when he says he can't accept the shoes? Or is that fair to say because politicians technically shouldn't be accepting gifts, but they can get bribed and get gifts as long as it's in the form of a lobby? Let's see what he says to PBD when he asks him about Bootgate. Here we go.
Type of person, like I have people around me that love to say, hey, Pat, you got something between your teeth. These are the annoying people in your life, right? Hey, Pat, pull your zipper up. You know, hey, Pat, do this. Hey, pull one of your socks is lower than the other one. I'm sure your marketing team points out how they're trying to troll you in the marketplace. Okay, I'm sure they're doing that. Can you bring this one clip? I know you were on, what do you call it? On, what was it? Bill Maher, and Bill Maher talked about the boots. I've seen you walk with these boots. Go ahead and play this clip. This on TikTok went viral. It doesn't have 1 million views. It doesn't have, 10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people.
Those are some very weird looking boots. If we go back and look at the screenshot here, I mean, look at these things, man. They look so weird. Like they look like they're like this on the inside. Like his foot is tilted upwards. I've never seen boots like that. Now, some boots could be baggy or whatever, but they just look really weird. And they actually look bigger than, like, if you look at the toe area, it looks like they're much bigger than his feet would actually fit into.
10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people are wondering,
what are they? I don't even. I haven't seen that.
They've not shown this to you. Okay,
No.
what they're trying to say with this is that in your boots you have heels.
No.
That's what they're trying to say.
Those are just standard off the rack Lucchese.
How tall are you? How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay. Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear, okay, I shop at Ferragamo, okay, and
I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
I totally get it.
I'm sorry.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire
I can't take that, I can't take that, which I do believe is true. Like, you wouldn't want to, if you're running as president, to take a gift. I guess it makes you look like you're corruptible. But I think Patrick Bet-David, his intention there was to really try to make him take those boots off and try those sneakers on in front of everybody. And I guess if I had to guess, I would say I think he does. Does it really matter how much your height is? Now, they've done studies on this and the term Napoleon complex. And when you're in a position of authority, you want to appear taller and stronger and more manly. There is some truth to that. But I don't think that's enough to make someone like Ron DeSantis, who cares what people think, man? Like, I never understood, like, be happy who you are, the way God created you. And I think this is why people are making fun of him. Whether it's true or not, I can't confirm. But I met Bill Clinton, for example, and he was taller than I am. I'm 6'2". And this guy was tall. He was like, he was very tall. I also met the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, to my knowledge, is the tallest world leader. This guy towered over me. He was like 6'8", 6'9". So maybe Ron feels that by looking taller, it's better, and for cameras, because he does look like I always thought he was shorter. But 5'11", it means he's not that much shorter than I am. The question is he 5'11" with or without the boots? I guess we'll never know. And now on to more serious news. The Hill reporting that the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says ceasefire a matter of life and death for millions. Now, I just want to know, why do these leaders come to New York City, create chaos when they do, complete gridlock? I was unfortunate to throw an event during United Nations Week. You couldn't move in Manhattan from all the different secret services of all the different leaders that were in town. Why do they even gather in that building when they seem to accomplish nothing? What is the point of even having the UN if no one listens to any of their mandates or even protects civilian life? This is the head of the United Nations agency tasked with assisting Palestinian refugees, who's reporting on Monday, which was 2 days ago, yesterday, 2 days ago, that a ceasefire in Israel's war with Hamas and Gaza has become a matter of life and death for millions. Now, there's a siege. They've been locked in there. They're not letting them into Egypt. They have nowhere to go, and we're just watching them being bombarded day and night with minimal supplies being let in. Israel has full control of their water, electricity, internet, everything. They are a population completely besieged. So when the head of this UN agency that's in charge of this is telling you that millions of people are about to die, malnutrition, water, supplies, medical supplies, why is this so hard? And why wouldn't Israel, that's a more civilized country, supposed to be, better than what they're fighting, which a lot of people are starting to question, including myself, their tactics? I know war is ugly, but you're supposed to demonstrate why you're the better people. Regardless of what happened to you, you're a superpower compared to them. Sometimes showing mercy is more powerful than destroying your enemy. Even if you have every right to, in your mind and your justification, which I don't justify the killing of civilians, I don't give a fuck. I lost 30 people in my family, and I was never once happy to hear of a Serbian being killed that was a civilian. because I understand that women, children, non-combatants get caught in crossfire. I never once had that type of hatred in my heart during the war, and I had lost 30 people in my own family. Forget my countrymen. I lost people I loved, that I spent every summer with. I cried and cried for months and years after their death. And I never once got happy to hear during that conflict that a civilian was killed on the other side. Not once. Because it's disgusting. No one innocent deserves to die. The agency head, Philippe Lazzarini, said Israel was inflicting collective punishment. That is a violation of Geneva Conventions. And I don't understand how the Israelis feel like they're going to get away with this type of stuff, because everyone's paying attention. Everyone's watching. Videos are getting out. It's just not a good look. The UN has been among the loudest supporters of a ceasefire in the conflict, yet our country continues to veto it. And then people wonder why the animosity around the world towards us. Because we're looked as bullies, man. We've started all these wars. We didn't win them by my standards when the Taliban's still in power. Iraq was a shit show. And we never had weapons of mass destruction there. So like we look like liars, bullies, and we fail every time we fucking start a war. Like we're not winning as the American people. Maybe the politicians are doing well. They seem to be making shitloads of money working in public service. If I would have known this shit, I thought I'd make like 80, 90 grand a year. That's why I never wanted to be like a senator or a mayor. But every politician I know seems to be doing really fucking well for themselves, even on the local level. The amount of corruption that happens, which is disgusting. And these people think they're going to get away with it. In my opinion, when you face God one day, you're going to have to answer for why you were so corrupt. That you were given a duty and a responsibility to look out for the best of the people that entrusted you to do the job. I hope to God there's a ceasefire over there. Now, the UN has been the loudest among it. Yet 100, 200 countries, yet only a few countries have veto power, like America and Russia. So it doesn't matter that all these countries, all these masses vote. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I can veto it. Even though all of you are against it, and the overwhelming majority that voted in the UN for a ceasefire were the majority. It says here, the General Assembly passed a resolution backing a ceasefire 120 to 14. 120 nations on the earth said we need a ceasefire. 45 said we don't want to get involved. And the U.S. was among 14 countries that vetoed against the measure. And they have veto power, which means even if they were the only country, they could say, fuck you, throw it out. So what good is the UN? What good is the UN if the majority of the countries vote and their votes really don't even matter? I guess it's just for public record. We were against it. It doesn't even matter because America's going to do whatever they want. Russia's going to do whatever they want. They're going to vote yes or no however they want. Lazzarini warned that the civil order may break down in Gaza due to a lack of food, water, and medical supplies. He noted a UN warehouse was raided over the weekend by Palestinians desperate for food and water. He also said 64 of the agency's staff had been killed in the conflict. So the United Nations workers who were there just to try to help people, they died, and yet there's no condemnation, there's nothing. The conflict began earlier this month. We all know how it started, and it's just growing out of control. Responding Israeli airstrikes and ground invasion has since killed at least 8,500 Palestinians, including more than 3,500 children. That's just unacceptable. Like I said, if I put myself in the shoes of an Israeli, I need to go after Hamas. I'm going to attack them. They killed 1,500 of our people. We have people that are kidnapped. But to me, you're no better than the people you're fighting. I hated what they did because they killed your civilians. You're doing the same shit. And in my world, two wrongs don't make a right. I don't give a fuck how it started. Because if you do what they do to you, supposedly, then you're no better than what you claim to be fighting. You're supposed to show us why you're better. Why you're so advanced. I pray for peace. I am not happy about this at all. It makes me sad. It makes me sad that this conflict is spiraling out of control. It makes me devastated that so many children have lost their lives. That people even debate whether or not there should be a ceasefire and that the world should back this. That it's just, you can't justify the killing of women and children. I don't care what side you're on. I do not care what side you're on. There is no way to justify it. There's no way you're going to convince me whether you deserve the land 5,000 years ago or you don't deserve the land or you do. None of that matters to me when I see dead children and women. I don't give a fuck. I want the war over. I wish the war never happened where my family's from. As a matter of fact, if I could have got my family out of the ground and got them out of that country, they could keep the fucking land, keep everything. I wish I had my fucking family. Because nothing gets that pain out of you when you lose somebody you love, and especially in a traumatic situation. Because I know what it's like to get a phone call and find out 30 people you loved, you hung out with, you lived with, every summer you spent with, you hugged them, you brought them gifts, you had an amazing time with them, and then you get a phone call like I did. I was roughly 14 or 15 years old, and you find out they're all gone. Executed. 30 people. I was fucking devastated. I never got over it. One human life is so precious. You never know the trajectory of a life. Maybe some kid there would have been the guy that cures cancer, or you just never know where a life could have gone. And you always wonder when you lose people, I wonder how it would have been, or I wonder what would have happened if they were alive, or what they would have said to me. And it's just horrific what's going on. There's a video, which I'll get to in a little bit. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but it's very interesting. Reuters here reporting, Israel says it kills second Hamas commander in refugee camp. First evacuees leave Gaza. Another violation of Geneva Conventions. Clearly a refugee compound. Gaza, Jerusalem. Israeli forces killed another Hamas commander on Wednesday in their second airstrike on Gaza's largest refugee camp in 2 days. The military said as the first group of civilian evacuees from the besieged enclave crossed into Egypt. Pressing their offensive against Hamas, Israel again bombed the densely populated Gaza Strip from land, sea, and air in its campaign to destroy the Islamist group after its deadly crossing border rampage on October 7th. Palestinians sifted through the rubble in a desperate hunt for people trapped underneath after Wednesday's Israel strike on the Jabalia refugee camp located in the urban sprawl of North Gaza. It was a massacre, said one of the witnesses at the strike. We all saw the video of it. There's a massive crater in the ground, some saying up to 600 tons or pounds or whatever it was dropped there. I saw the images. It was just...
استشهدوا أهلي كلهم 15 أبرياء قاعدين دارس قسم إيش ذنبهم كلهم راح دار أختي أولاد دار أخوي أولاد أخوتي كلهم ما ضلش إلا.
Ask yourself, if you're an Israeli or anybody, if someone blew up your family, regardless how the conflict started, you weren't a non-combatant. But once you've just lost everything you have, your home, your family, your kids, what do you think that man's going to do? He's willing to die. He's willing to fight to the death, tooth and nail. He's willing to wait another 20 years for revenge, 30 years if he has to. And violence just begets more violence. All that's happening here is you're creating future terrorists by Israeli standards, or future freedom fighters from the Palestinian perspective. You're galvanizing those people to resist you even more, and the people that support them, which is other Muslim countries, other Arabs, and this is why this has the potential to spiral out of control. I am begging our leaders, I am begging our president, I'm begging the United Nations that clearly has no power. It's a fucking joke. It's a farce. Begging them to stop in there and to end this war before this thing gets out of control, and I'm going to show you where it could go. And even if Israel did hit a commander there, if they were completely surrounded by civilians, why the fuck would you take the shot? Is this how you're going to win the hearts and minds of the American people? The ones that are sending you billions of dollars, that looks like a lot of them are starting to protest against you. There's a lot of shit going on U.S. campuses. I mean, it's just becoming a shit show. And I don't see a path to victory. Even if Israel wins here, I think they lose a lot of support, the way they're handling it. So, let's see. Amnesty International, amnesty.org, reporting Lebanon, evidence of Israel's unlawful use of white phosphorus in southern Lebanon as cross-border hostilities escalate. The Israeli army fired shells containing white phosphorus, an incendiary weapon, in military operations along Lebanon's southern border between 10 and 16 of October 2023. Amnesty International said today one attack on the town of Dayara on 16 October must be investigated as a war crime because it was an indiscriminate attack that injured at least 9 civilians and damaged civilian objects and was therefore unlawful, said the organization. Cross-border hostilities in southern Lebanon have escalated significantly. Israel's shelling in Lebanon has killed at least 4 civilians and 48 Hezbollah members so far. If you remember, I believe it was last week or a few days ago, the president of Iran basically threatened to get involved directly. Yemen, who also has the Houthis, who seem to be backed by Iran, called the Axis of Evil by Benjamin Netanyahu, that this thing really has the potential, guys. I'm serious, to pull the whole entire Middle Eastern. And, if they're using these types of, munitions, how come other countries get in trouble for doing it? They don't get in trouble for doing it. We can't have these double standards when it comes to warfare, when it comes to the Geneva Conventions. If anyone else blew up a refugee camp, okay, regardless of who's wrong for the war, they would be labeled as war crimes, period. It's not like Israel doesn't know what they're hitting. They have one of the most advanced militaries in the fucking world. So my question to them is, what are you guys doing? Everyone's watching. Everyone's paying attention. I give the analogy that I saw someone on Patrick Bet-David's podcast say it. I was saying it too. If I was taken hostage by bank robbers and now the bank's surrounded by the police, and to get the robber, the police blows up the bank and kills all of us that are being held hostage, would you consider that a good police department? And would you consider it an ethically and morally good army if they're blowing up refugee camps, fucking hospitals, places full of civilians just to get to one terrorist? I would have to say no. I would have to say you've lost my support at that point, because you're taking a toll on women and children that have no way to defend themselves. I understand what happened to you. I condemn what happened to you. It's horrible what happened to you. You want to hunt down Hamas? Send in the fucking Secret Service. You have the movie Munich. You guys did it how many years ago? You went after every last Nazi on the fucking planet. You have one of the best intelligence agencies in the world. There was a lot of different ways you could have did this. But just blowing up buildings with civilians in full of it, you're losing everyone's support. You are. Now, this video, I don't know how accurate it is. It's from the Twitter account Censored Men. It claims that Hamas released a video of them dropping a grenade on Israeli forces in Gaza. So I'm going to show you this video and we'll kind of comment on it. Here's the video. You see an aerial shot from a drone. You see all these blown up houses, I'm assuming in Gaza. You see a shitload of craters where other munitions probably fell. And then this drone is like moving through the air to like an open field. It's just all like sand. There's no real buildings there. You see a grenade dangling from this aerial shot. There's a group of about 20 people there, and then you just see this black and orange munition dropped from the drone, and you see about 8 to 10 of these people just drop dead on the spot. They had no idea it was coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12 to 13 people significantly wounded, if not dead. If this video is real, that was a catastrophic loss for the IDF, assuming that this video is authentic. I can't confirm if it is or isn't, but Censored Men has 700,000 followers and posted this video. So I don't know if it is accurate or not. We all saw the videos of what happened in Dagestan, part of the Soviet, part of the Russian Federation. They were storming through the airport. They were looking for a plane of Israeli passengers, complete chaos. And like I said, this conflict is spreading well beyond its borders all over the world, even here in the U.S. There's been a lot of attacks on Jewish Americans. There's been attacks on Arab and Muslim Americans. We had that 6-year-old boy who was murdered by his, if I'm not mistaken, his landlord or whoever it was, an old man, fucking killed that 6-year-old boy. It's just disgusting. Regardless of what's happening in Israel and in Gaza, I can never stand behind attacks on people living abroad, far away from these conflict zones. Civilians. Hatred is not how we fix these problems. Alienating people, putting them in boxes. It was something I had to overcome with the Kosovo War, where I had blind hatred because I had lost my family. I saw what my people lived through under the occupation of Serbia when Milosevic came to power. And it took me a long time to not paint all Serbians with one brush and say they're all evil. There was many Serbians that were against the war, that apologized for what their people did. I've had people in my comments and in my messages write me. And, blind hatred does not help anybody. And war only makes more war, makes more people extreme, because what happened to them was pure trauma. Violence only begets violence. Now, because of the religious significance of this area, you're going to be hitting the hearts of a lot of Muslims in the way you're handling this situation. Christians have also had their church hit. So this is becoming very delicate. It's like trying to fight a war that's booby-trapped, but not with weapons. Moral dilemmas that can come to backfire on Israel's ability to win the heart and minds of people. They're trying to win the information war. And clearly with Dagestan and all these places around the world, what's happening on American universities, and we'll get to that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, I think maybe right now is a good time. There was a student that was arrested in Cornell University, I believe. And I'm going to play this clip. So what I'm saying is that this conflict is so personal, like it's becoming personal to people that are not even Arab or Muslim or Jewish or Israeli. Like this guy here, Cornell student arrested over anti-Semitic threats. He's of Asian descent. I mean, this is the last guy I would have thought would have been arrested for these types of threats against the Jewish community. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, we know we had an uptick in Asian hate crimes during the pandemic. Everyone was blaming that race for the corona, for everything that happened, and we felt bad. And a lot of people were protesting in New York for, to protect our Asian community, of which I also stood against anyone attacking anyone. I mean, this is like ridiculous. You're blaming people for shit they have no control over. So, let's play this clip and let's talk about it.
A university student arrested Tuesday accused of posting threatening statements online about Jewish students at the school, and a photo of that suspect just released moments ago. Patrick Dye is 21 years old, a junior from Pittsford, New York, charged in a federal criminal complaint with posting threats to kill or injure another using interstate communications. That is according to a joint announcement from the U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI, New York State Police, and Cornell University Police. It was not clear right away if Dye had hired an attorney. Now, the federal court's website had not yet been updated about the case.
So again, we've been seeing massive protests. We've been seeing images here on American soil of students. Now there's this debate about the left, the liberals, who most Jews support the liberals. If you look, most of it, like you go on a dating website, which I did for a very brief moment in my life, most of the Jewish women there, they all had liberal. And now it's like the liberals are protesting against Israel, and now they're not on the same page. The lawmakers that were using these people to further their causes and their, attack against the right and Trump and all this shit, now they seem to be torn on this issue. And we know that we had Black Lives Matter posting videos and pictures of the Hamas parachuting over saying, "We're with you." So this is where I tell people, like, there's no such thing as like 100% liberal, 100% conservative. Issues are individual issues, and common sense is what should prevail. And you can't say everyone's wrong, 100% wrong or 100% right. and that people of reason, moderates, people that want to bring peace to the world, want to try to find solutions, try to look at each issue separately. I can't classify myself as a liberal or a conservative. As I've said many times on my show, I guess if I had to pick a party, it'd be the libertarian one, but I don't really have a party that represents what I believe in. So it's so hard to navigate through our politics. Now, as all this is going on, we have Putin was saying that the West, meaning us, America, was to blame for the mob storming the Russian airport. U.S. calls the accusation absurd. This is reported by CNBC.com. The U.S. rejected accusations by Russian President Vladimir Putin that the West and Ukraine had orchestrated an anti-Israel riot in an airport in the Russian Republic of Dagestan over the weekend, calling the allegations absurd. In a televised meeting, Putin said the West and Ukraine had organized the deadly chaos, saying the current ruling elites of the U.S. and their satellites who are the main beneficiaries of world instability. So he wasn't claiming responsibility for what happened at the Dagestan airport as they were trying to hunt down any Jewish passengers in that terminal so far away from Jerusalem. And that's the danger of this conflict. Reuters reporting that Israel deploys missile boats in Red Sea as Houthi attack from Yemen. The Israeli military said it had deployed missile boats in the Red Sea on Wednesdays as reinforcements a day after the Iran-aligned Houthi movement said it had launched missiles and drone attacks on Israel and vowed to carry out more. Images disseminated by the military showed SAR-class corvettes patrolling near Eilat port in the Red Sea, which Israel sees as a new front as its war in Gaza draws retaliation from Iran-aligned pro-Hamas forces elsewhere in the region. It vowed that there would be much more attacks to come to help the Palestinians to victory. Now, this is where I feel like we're right on the edge of the point of no return. The more these groups that are supposedly backed by Iran continue to help and do this type of stuff is going to give Israel the right, and America, which is sending fucking warships there, their biggest one yet, to strike and hit inside Iran, at which time Russia's a big supporter of Iran and Syria, and this thing can just spread like a wildfire. Next thing you know, they're drafting your boys and your girls to go in harm's way for another fucking war that we just cannot afford as Americans. We are in trouble. The world is in trouble. The world is in danger. And it seems like no matter what we do, they won't keep us out of these conflicts. New York Post, U.S. forces attacked by Iran proxies 27 times in 2 weeks, the Pentagon says. American service members stationed in the Middle East have endured at least 27 attacks by Iran-backed terror groups since October 17th, the Pentagon confirmed Tuesday. In some cases, they didn't just strike anything. To my knowledge, there were no injuries, no damage to infrastructure. Okay, they tried, supposedly. So, like I said, all we need is one catalyst, one event to happen here domestically, which I'm terrified about, which I would say there's a highly probable chance. Lone wolves are organized. The border's been open for years. 8 million people crossed in, unchecked. Their doctrines, where they came from, their documents. It's safe to say that they would plant sleeper cells here. They have plenty of time to plan. And all we need is one spark. And we got World War III, in my opinion. And all of this is happening as the largest migrant caravan in a year is heading to the U.S. as leaders mock Biden's border policies, reported also by the New York Post. Here we go. Images of hundreds of thousands of migrants heading towards America. We're literally being invaded. We're literally wide open. We literally have groups across the world that want to cause harm. They're in our cities, they're in our towns, they're in our states. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know anything about these fucking people. I feel sympathy for people that are in need. I feel horrible for them. I've had family that have been refugees. Okay? But this is getting out of control. And we are exposed. We are exposed. We are in danger. And we just can't afford it. We're in debt to our eyeballs as a nation. What the fuck are our leaders doing on that hill? We can't even secure our own border and we're worried about Israel? No offense to the Israelis. Like, you guys got enough weapons and money and military, like, take care of your shit. We have our own fucking problems. Here. No one's helping me. I just had to renew my car insurance. And I couldn't believe I'm paying $400 a month for 2 cars, man. That's $5,000. That's a car payment 5-10 years ago. Like, this is crazy. $5,000 a year just to insure my cars. And so on and so forth. And we get no relief. Taxes keep going up. Everything is going through the roof, but we got billions of dollars for war. Trillions of dollars. Fucking trillions of dollars. This is crazy. NDTV reporting axis of resistance in Iran's proxy network across the Middle East. Since 1984, under 6 different presidents, the U.S. has imposed sanctions on Iran's extensive network of militia proxies in the Middle East. Yemen, sitting nearly 2,500 kilometers away from Israel, is supposedly going to fight the Israelis. Let's see how that happens. Lebanon, Syria has long relied on its alliance with Iran to stay in power. Iraq, Gaza, and then Saudi Arabia has some of these cells supposedly in Bahrain. So, like I said, I think this conflict is just starting. We're not even on the first course yet on what I think we're going to see coming our way. The country of Bolivia severs ties with Israel, reported by Reuters. Others recall envoys over Gaza. Bolivia said on Tuesday it had broken diplomatic ties with Israel because of its attacks on the Gaza Strip, while neighbors Colombia and Chile recalled their ambassadors to the Middle Eastern country for consultations. The 3 South American nations lambasted Israel's attacks on Gaza and condemned the deaths of Palestinian civilians. Bolivia decided to break diplomatic relations with the Israel state in repudiation and condemnation of the aggressive and disproportionate Israeli military offensive taking place in the Gaza Strip. Deputy Foreign Minister Freddy Mamani said at a press conference. The 3 countries called for a ceasefire, with Bolivia and Chile pushing for the passage of humanitarian aid into the zone and accusing Israel of violating international law. Country after country, organization after organization, all say the same thing. What is happening to the civilians is wrong. And I agree with them. Period. There needs to be a ceasefire. Women and children need to get out. The injured need to get out. Water, food, 2.5 million people, guys. It's just crazy what's going on. There was a story floating around that China removed Israel off its maps. Yahoo News reporting China denies censoring Israel on the maps. Chinese and other social media users expressed shock this week after finding that Israel was not explicitly demarcated as a country on Baidu and Alibaba's online digital maps. Sean McGuire, a partner at the investment firm Sequoia Capital, called the move a major provocation from China. China's foreign ministry, however, dismissed speculation that it had changed its stance on Israel's borders during a press conference Tuesday, saying that Beijing recognizes the country on official maps. I believe you are aware that China and Israel have a normal diplomatic relationship, Wang Wenbin, the ministry spokesperson, said in response to a question from a Reuters reporter about whether China had asked online map platforms to remove Israel. The relevant country is clearly marked on the standard maps issued by the Chinese competent authorities, which you may refer to when being said. It's not clear whether Baidu Maps or Alibaba service AMAP made any changes in response to the ongoing war in Gaza. It's possible that the people may be noticing long-standing features of the 2 platforms. A semaphore review of both mapping services found that Baidu Maps and AMAP did not automatically display labels for either Israel or Palestine. AMAP doesn't label other countries either and only names cities on its maps. So that was something that was floating around yesterday. Now, one thing I did see online, and I wasn't aware of this, I do remember the BDS movement here in the U.S. The BDS movement was one that was calling for the boycott of anything to do with Israel. The boycott, divestment, and sanctions is a Palestinian-led movement promoting boycotts, divestments, and economic sanctions against Israel. Its objective is to pressure Israel to meet what the BDS movement describes as Israel's obligations under international law, defined as withdrawal from the occupied territories, removal of the separation barrier on the West Bank, full equality for Arab Palestinian citizens of Israel, respecting, protecting, and promoting the rights of Palestinian refugees to return to their homes and property. So that was like a big thing a few years ago. And I think it was, I don't know when it started. I think it started, traced the origins to the NGO Forum at the 2001 World Conference Against Racism in South Africa. The forum adopted a document that contained many ideas that would later reappear in 2005. So well over 20 years that movement started. So how America responded was they created something called anti-BDS laws and resolutions. And these are laws and resolutions that oppose boycotts of Israel. The name comes from the BDS movement, which calls for boycotts, divestment, and sanctions against Israel to pressure Israel to meet what it describes as Israel's obligation under international law. Anti-BDS laws are designed to make it difficult for people and organizations to participate in boycotts of Israel, while anti-BDS resolutions are symbolic and non-binding parliamentary condemnations, either of boycotts of Israel or of BDS itself. So, anti-BDS laws in the U.S. as of 2021, 35 states, that's the overwhelming majority, that means there's only 15 states that don't do it, have passed bills and executive orders designed to discourage boycotts of Israel. Many of them have been passed with broad bipartisan support. Most anti-BDS laws have taken one of two forms: contract-focused laws requiring government contractors to promise that they are not boycotting Israel, and investment-focused laws mandating public investment funds to avoid entities boycotting Israel. There has been a debate over whether the laws violate the right to free speech in organizations such as the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, and the Council on American Islamic Relations have challenged many of them in court cases. The public's opinion of this, right? So they basically, 35 states, made it illegal to promote a boycott of Israel. Now, to me, I find that to be a violation of the First Amendment. This country, we had citizens, just because of their skin color, could not sit in the front of a bus, could not eat the same restaurant as a white American if they were black or of color. Not even 70 years ago. Okay? 80 years ago. And then you had people like Rosa Parks, who I consider a hero, a heroiness, someone with courage to start the Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Alabama, the bus boycott, which many consider like the greatest spark of the civil rights movement. When she refused to get off that seat in civil disobedience, they arrested her because she wasn't allowed to sit in the front of the bus because she was black. I mean, that's how crazy our laws were. Like I think this one is. That it inspired other African Americans and their supporters to boycott that bus company, basically almost bankrupt it. And that is a form of protest for you to say, I don't support this place or this company, like the same reason why people gave up drinking Budweiser because they didn't like the commercial that they found to be offensive wherever you stand on the trans community. I'm not here to get into that, but they lost a shitload of market share because people online were calling for the boycott of Bud Light. It is an American right to protest and to call for boycott. You have that right, whether I agree with what you're fighting for or not. We have a right to say, I don't like what they're doing, and this is why we should boycott them. That is called free speech and the right to protest. Why is it that Israel gets these types of protections in America, 35 states? This is not me picking on them. But when it can be done for one country, then it can be done for anything. And anything that infringes on the First Amendment, for me, as a free American, someone that speaks publicly, believes in free speech, I don't agree with these laws. Whether you support Israel or not, that's another debate. It could have been that this law was made for Pakistan or Albania, where my family comes from, and I would still be against it. Because people have a right to protest and boycott what they don't want to support anymore. And if they want to draw attention to an issue and they feel this is a way that they can wake people up, then who the fuck is the government to tell us what we can and cannot protest or can and cannot boycott? And why? Like, it's just crazy to me. According to the University of Maryland's Critical Issues poll from October 2019, a majority of Americans oppose anti-BDS laws. So the overwhelming majority of those, 72%, oppose laws penalizing people who boycott Israel, and 22% supported such laws. The poll also found a strong partisan divide. Among those who had heard of BDS, 76% of Republicans opposed the movement compared to 52% of Democrats. In a 2019 poll from a Data for Progress, 35% to 27% opposed anti-BDS laws, split by party affiliation. So in any event, I found that interesting, that technically I can't boycott that country if I wanted to. That's fucking ridiculous. Period. I still don't use BP gas in my cars unless, God forbid, I'm somewhere and there's no other gas station. I can say I've probably been to a BP maybe once or twice since they had that eruption of Gulf oil that destroyed the Gulf of Mexico. And I never forgave them for that. Remember that pipe that was just spewing out oil for days and weeks and months? Now imagine the government goes, you're not allowed to boycott them. You're not allowed to talk about why you should boycott them. No, I'm going to fucking boycott them. I will never forgive them for what they did to the Gulf of Mexico. 100-something days, I think it was, that pipe was just spewing oil in the middle of that beautiful water. Sea life, everything dying, washing up on the shores of Alabama and Mississippi, Texas. So I have a right to boycott what I don't want to support and speak about it freely because that's free speech. Why these laws exist, I leave that to you, the viewer. Why do you think these laws exist, and are they fair? Drop a comment below. Now, I saw this video. I don't know if it's real or not. Okay, the internet's an interesting place. There's a video that was posted here. It popped up randomly on my ex, Juanita Broderick. She's got 950,000 followers. I'm doing a really shitty job, guys. I mean, if this lady right here, Juanita, retired RN and business owner from Fort Smith, Arkansas, has got 1 million followers, I'm definitely doing something wrong in my life. Maybe I should just stop, guys. If you want me to stop and give up on my channel, drop a comment below, because I think I'm doing something wrong, man. I've been grinding for a minute. That's why you got to hit like, hit support, hit share, or you're going to lose Bek Lover. In any event, she posted a video that I can't confirm if it's real or not, but 1 million followers are seeing a video, and I don't know where the hell it went, of our boy Hunter. And I don't know if the video is authentic or not, but here's the video. I'm going to pop it up. You see him. And he's just staring into the camera like from a selfie mode. He looks like shit, honestly. He's just staring into the camera. There's nothing going on in the background of his house. It looks like he's in the living room area. He opens the front door, walks out of this modest-looking home. It's not a mansion or anything. It looks like a working-class neighborhood. He's looking around. He's just looking in the phone like he's dazed and confused. Very weird fucking video. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's authentic. I don't know from what time it is. But this was posted yesterday. She wrote, "What the fuck is Hunter doing? He looks like death warmed over. Why is he taking this video? And where is Jesus?" And it is a very strange video. If this video was just posted by him, I don't understand what he's like doing nothing in this video. It's just weird. He's just like looking in the camera. Nothing interesting going on. No reason to even film it, really. And she just posted it. So I found it accidentally, and I kind of put it up. So crazy, 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 crazy. Amy Schumer has been trending like crazy with the whole Israel-Palestine thing. If we look on her wall, there's just been a lot of attacks by other people on her. So it's been kind of kind of crazy. So let's kind of like just pull up a random video on her X account. And let's see what kind of, she doesn't even have that many posts. Her last post, October 30th, was Martin Luther King. Okay. Let's click on this post. Let's read some of the comments. Comments here. So basically, that doesn't let us read the comments. So she changed her Twitter, aka X account. Can't even read the comments, but I've been seeing her on a lot of feeds and posts and people tagging her. So yeah, this is where we're at, folks. It's been really crazy what's going on. There's a lot of potential for this to spread. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. I'm praying for peace. I pray that Israel stops the onslaught. It doesn't look good for them right now, morally, what they're doing. And I think they're losing a lot of support by their tactics. I believe there's a lot more to this story than all of us know. I do believe that the world is in danger of a world war. I'm trying to be a voice of reason out there. It's not easy to be fair to everyone that's involved. People take it personal. People think you hate them. And I am viral and famous for my message. Muslims, Christians, and Jews are brothers. They're cousins. The fact that they kill each other is a disgrace. Nobody wins in war. And all of us will answer to God. There is no such thing as collateral damage. There is no excuse on that day, if you believe in God and the afterlife, where you will stand before your Creator and answer for all that you've done in this life. I do believe this life is a simulation created by God to test those of us that are alive, that have this gift of free will, that can do anything we want or say what we feel, that we're going to have to answer for this gift one day. And that excuse of, well, they did this to me, so I did this to them, that's not going to hold up in the court of God. Collateral damage is never justified. I know for a fact in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad ordered no killing of women, children, or non-combatants. Prisoners of war had rights. I know Christianity and Judaism also have mercy in their religion. Sometimes even when you're justified and you can use excessive force, doesn't mean you should. Especially if it's going to cost you the support and the love that you've had from other people and nations. Israel's in a really tough spot. Anti-Semitism's through the roof. I have family of Jewish descent. I have, friends that I grew up with that are Palestinian. I have friends that are Arab of every region. And I'm just sad. I'm really sad, and I'm praying for peace because I can't stand seeing another image of a dead baby. I'm begging you to stop this war. The world needs to end this war somehow, some way, fast. This is Bek Lover, and you're listening to the Bek Lover Podcast, where you might learn a thing or two about life. Bek Lover.